Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to the Intuitive Marriage Podcast. I'm your host, Amanda Pott. I'm an intuitive marriage mentor. And this week, we are in episode 23, you guys. I can't even believe it. I want to appreciate you. I want to shout you guys out. Thank you so much for showing up every week and being a listener, because this is why I do it. So thank you. I appreciate you. Now, this week, I want to take you guys on a heartfelt journey through the 12 foundations that I have created. I mean, I didn't create the foundations, but I kind of put them together into what I call Worthy of Love. And it's the 12 foundations of an intuitive marriage. Now, I kind of put these all together sort of in, I guess in a way that it's for my own life. I live my own life like this. And as the core of the work I do to help couples like you, these foundations have been transformative in not only my personal growth, but in the deep connection and love that I continue to nurture with my own husband. So I just really want to share this. I've sort of been going over this in my entire show. I've gone over the different 12 foundations. I sort of repeat myself over and over again about how important I believe these essential foundations are, not only in life, but in marriage. And over the years, I realized that marriage is more than just a commitment to your partner. It's also a commitment to your own growth, your own healing, and your intuition. And the truth is, in order for me to have a thriving, intuitive marriage, I had to start with myself. These 12 foundations, which I now teach in my mentorship, were born out of my own journey towards self-awareness and self-love. And they've helped me not only stay on track, but also become more intentional and mindful of how I show up in my marriage every day. In the beginning, it wasn't about creating a framework for others. It was about me doing the deep inner work to continue building the love I share with my husband, to nurture that bond and make it stronger with each passing day. Now, there are moments where I had to step back and ask myself, am I listening to my intuition or my ego? I have a really great episode on that, actually. Can't remember which one it is offhand, but it's intuition versus ego. And am I being accountable? Am I bringing fun and joy into our life? These questions led me to explore new ways of communicating, new ways of showing up for him, my husband, and new ways of growing together as a couple. So if you haven't listened to my last episode, go check it out. It's How Intuitive Is Your Marriage? It sort of created these series of 12 foundations. And this is sort of a quiz, like 24 questions that will give you a lot of actually insight into how intuitive is your marriage. Maybe some areas you can see where you're strong in, maybe some areas that you need to kind of work at. And as I began to refine these practices, I noticed something beautiful happening in our relationship. It wasn't just about avoiding conflict or maintaining harmony anymore. It was about creating deeper understanding, more empathy, and true intimacy. And not just in a physical sense, but emotionally and spiritually. As these foundations became a part of my life, I saw how they kept me grounded, how they guided me to bring my best self into our marriage every day. They became a compass, not just for my relationship, but for my own growth as a person. And that's when I realized that if these foundations could help me create such a deep connection and intuitive love in my own marriage, then they could do the same for others. Honestly, that's why I'm here. I have a really strong passion for love and marriage and intuition. Intuition is just my jam. I feel like my purpose is to share this passion and my gift of intuition. I know how it feels to crave that deep connection with someone, to want to be seen, loved, and understood in your marriage. You want your husband to just get you, just know you, see you, hear you. I know how transformative it is to work on yourself in a way that benefits your relationship in the most profound ways. So today, you guys, I'm going to dive into each of these 12 foundations, what they mean to me, how they've shaped or impacted my marriage, and how they can guide you on your own soulful journey to a truly intuitive marriage. Whether it's learning to trust your intuition, setting boundaries, or simply making time for fun and joy, these principles are meant to bring you and your partner closer in ways that go beyond the surface. So let's begin this journey together. My podcast and the episodes have touched on all 12 of these foundations, but here I'm bringing them all together, and I call it Worthy of Love. I've stated this a few times throughout my show, but fun fact, if you look up the name Amanda in the dictionary, it's in quotations worthy of love or deserving of love. And for many years, with some failed relationships and challenges that I went through, I didn't really feel worthy of love. My hope is that, as you listen to this, maybe you'll feel inspired to implement some of these foundations into your own relationship. Maybe you can resonate. Maybe it just makes sense. And, take that first step towards a deeper connection, a more intuitive love, and a thriving marriage that truly reflects the beautiful souls that you both are. So let's get started. The first foundation is self-love. We start with self-love because, let's face it, if you don't love yourself, you're going to have a really hard time truly loving anyone else. Think of it as like this, you can't fill someone else's cup if yours is bone dry. Self-love is the foundation of all love. It's about recognizing your own worth and treating yourself with the same compassion you offer others. When you show up for yourself, you can show up fully in your relationship. So every day, ask yourself, what's one small thing that you can do to honor your own needs? It could be as simple as 5 minutes of quiet time or treating yourself to that fancy, expensive coffee that you love. Think of some things that, fill up your cup. So how do I incorporate self-love myself? I love bubble baths, and I will soak in there for at least an hour. I really enjoy taking time for myself. When I was doing The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, she calls it artist dates. So you try to take yourself on an artist date or a self date, once a week, whether it's a walk, go for a coffee, a fancy coffee shop with cozy couches. Maybe it's a movie on your own. Do something that's just for you and journal about it. How did it make you feel? How did you feel afterwards? Maybe you went to an art show on your own. Maybe you went to a fancy, just a fancy martini bar and just had a drink on your own. Do something that you feel good about that maybe you've wanted to go do. Go visit a flower shop. Now, how self-love impacts my marriage, you guys are, I'm really hoping you guys are all going to get this, but it just goes to say, everybody says this, when you love your own damn self, unconditionally, You set the standard for how others are going to treat you, and that includes your partner. So set the standard of how you want your partner to love you. Start loving yourself that way. Okay, let's move on to the second foundation, which is communication. Now, communication, it's the bread and butter of every relationship. You know, I really truly believe that, or should I say the peanut butter and jelly, maybe? Either way, you know, without good communication, things can get messy really fast. And communication is more than just talking. It's about listening and understanding each other's needs. It's not always about agreeing. It's about making sure your partner feels heard and valued. You know, you can practice active listening. Next time your partner talks, don't plan your responses while they're speaking. You know, we all do it. You're waiting for them to pause. You're waiting for that gap to jump in because either you're going to fix it or you feel you have something better to say. Don't do that. Instead, listen with the intent to understand and repeat back what you've heard to ensure clarity if you need to. It also shows to your partner that you are actually understanding. You know, deep conversation is the impact in my relationship. I stay curious about my husband. You know, every week, whatever works, maybe it's every couple of days, whatever works for your schedule. But schedule some time just to have a communication check-in with your husband. Use this time to ask him, you know, how are you feeling about us? You know, really listen to the response. How are things going? No fixing, no interrupting, just listening. You know, communication isn't about winning an argument. It's about winning each other over every single day. So maybe don't bring up like the socks on the floor or things that, you know, the toothpaste on the counter, whatever your pet peeves are. Maybe let's not bring those up during your check-in time. Okay, just a thought. This is to get some deeper conversation going. All right, let's move on to the third foundation, which is expectations. Now, expectations, we all have them, right? And if you don't, you're bullshitting yourself, you're lying. We all have expectations. And sometimes we expect our partners to read our minds. We all do. And no matter how intuitive you may be, you know, we joke about this. My husband was like, hey, you're so intuitive. Don't you know this already? You know, spoiler alert, you know, we just can't. We just can't. Sometimes we joke around and, you know, all kinds of crazy stuff happens and it's like, get out of my head. But reality is we cannot read each other's minds. Expectations are like visible rules that we often don't communicate, but still get frustrated when they're not met. So aligning expectations with your partner will save you from future miscommunication and misunderstandings. Instead of assuming your partner knows what you want, I know we do this sometimes, tell them. Start sentences with, it would mean a lot to me if, and see how clarity shifts the dynamic. Instead of just expecting or thinking that he understands you, yes, in time we're going to build that. You need to communicate those expectations. You're going to have less misunderstandings. That's been the experience in my marriage. We understand each other better. We know what to expect with each other because we have communicated that to each other. This week, you know, write down the 3 expectations you have of your partner. Maybe it's more quality time, or helping with the housework, and share them in a calm, non-judgmental way. We all have different expectations, and sometimes our own personal expectations are perhaps unrealistic. And that's something else that, we work on, is our own self-awareness and what expectations do we have for ourselves? What do we have for our partner? Are they realistic? And have we communicated to them? Are we being clear about our expectations? We'd argue less about who was supposed to take out the trash, if you haven't communicated that, if it's just been an assumption. And, let's have it more about who gets the last slice of pizza, right? And pro tip, just share the pizza, just share it. Cut it down to half, have a couple bites, pass it on, yeah, just be clear on your expectations. That's huge. Okay, fourth foundation is accountability. Accountability. Now, this one is actually a game changer, but it can get uncomfortable because it's a lot of inner work, and it's about owning our own part in the relationship. It's not about finger pointing and, the blame game. Taking responsibility for your actions and your reactions creates a safe space for your partner to do the same. It's the difference between you always and I could handle that better. Try a little phrase that works wonders. You're right. I could have done that differently. And watch your partner's jaw drop in amazement or confusion. Whichever. But, maybe this week, I'm telling you, do a lot of things this week. This program goes over 12 weeks. I'm looking at a 12-month membership in the future. I'm trying to figure all that stuff out. But, you can kind of even do a little bit of this every day. I try to incorporate all of this in every day. But maybe this week, commit to apologizing immediately when you know you've messed up. And bonus points if you add, I'm working on it and I appreciate your patience. That's always a great thing to say to your partner as well. You understand and you're working on it. And you appreciate them being patient with you. And again, this goes back to you being accountable to your reactions on something as well as your actions. Imagine a world where couples actually said, you know what, babe? You're totally right. How does that sit with you? I have no problem saying that. Sometimes it does hurt. Sometimes it's painful. But it's okay. You will survive it. And once you've done it, welcome to the Being Accountable for Your Actions Club. So, that dream can become a reality. It really can. It's not that painful. And, maybe not all the time, but it is a start. And don't say it if you really don't feel like it's worthy of being said, right? But it's okay. We mess up. It's okay to apologize and tell your partner that they're right. The fifth foundation is boundaries. Boundaries are like the bumpers in bowling. Now, they do keep you in your lane without falling into the gutter. However, setting boundaries is not about keeping your partner out. It's about creating a space where both of you feel safe and respected. So if a certain topic or action consistently triggers frustration, it might be time to set a boundary. Say, I need us to discuss this later when we're both calm, instead of diving into an argument right then and there. Maybe your boundary is you just need that moment to digest what's been said and process. Whatever that boundary is, maybe there's something that's, you feel that your partner expects of you and you feel obligated, but you're just not, it just doesn't feel right. So talk about it. Talk about it. Create a boundary. Together, discuss your boundaries with each other. What you want. Set them up. Is it around alone time? Do you need some boundaries so you have more alone time? Is it on phone use? Maybe it's you feel your partner's on their phone more often than they should be, or you feel that maybe you need boundaries for yourself because you're on your phone too much. These all work towards ourselves and our marriage. Maybe it's emotional triggers. Maybe there's boundaries in actions that are taken or things that are said. Boundaries aren't barriers. They are guidelines for a happy, thriving relationship. So it's just like setting a rule for who controls the remote. I mean, you have to have, if it's the one person all the time, they need boundaries, and you need boundaries in order to be able to speak up, right? And it's fair game once those boundaries are set. So just talk about it. The sixth foundation is fun. Woo! Fun. Okay, what does that mean? Some people just have no clue even anymore what fun is. I've been there. My husband, in the past before, we've been there. But fun does still exist in marriage. I know some of you are going through times where it doesn't feel like that. But trust me, it's such an integral part of a harmonious marriage. Turn your chores into competitions, or have smart-ass remarks. Dancing in the kitchen. Share inside jokes only the two of you get. It's finding the joy in every day with your favorite partner in crime. Playfulness and shared laughter keep the spark alive, even during the tough times. It's about creating joy together, and only you guys can decide how that looks for the two of you. But please make time for fun, whether it's a board game night, singing karaoke. That's our thing. We love it. We have so much fun. We go out for dinner and a movie, concerts. Maybe it's trying out a new hobby together. Have you ever gone axe throwing? Maybe try that. We've done that before. It's way, way fucking harder than it looks. Or maybe you're going to have a game of cornhole. Yeah, I know. For you dirty-minded humans, it's also called bean bags. It's a yard game. My husband builds the boards and has run tournaments in the past at our resort. And it's just so much fun, Plan a fun date this week that's out of your usual routine. The goal is to laugh together. Bonus points if you make it spontaneous. It doesn't even have to be anything planned. Maybe it's just go grab some ice cream. Fun and laughter has been such a huge part of my husband and our relationship, our marriage, from day one. It honestly is the best medicine. Laughter is so good for your soul. So, go ahead, laugh at your partner's terrible dad jokes. They are trying. The seventh foundation, trust. Now, trust, it's the foundation of a strong marriage. But like a good plant, it does need water, and it also needs a little sunshine. It definitely needs some TLC. So trust is built over time through honesty, reliability, and consistency. It's not about being perfect. It's about being dependable. So I don't know about you, but in my marriage, I like things to be predictable. My past marriage, past relationships, there's been a lot of unpredictability, which led to deception, which led to trust issues. So I definitely like predictability. I do like spontaneity. So, I mean, it is a little bit the predictability of my husband's behavior, and I know what to expect from him. Just be open and honest about the small things with your husband, because those small things add up, and transparency truly does build trust. So when triggers happen from the past traumas that you've had in past relationships, from trust issues, talk about it. There again, your partner can't read your mind. So if you're struggling with something from a past trauma in regards to trust, you need to speak about it. It has to be out there. You need to get vulnerable. Now, share one area where you want to work on trust with your partner this week. Journal it. I'm huge in journaling. You should be journaling every day. But whether it's emotional trust, physical trust, financial trust, make a plan together. Get on the same page. Trust is kind of like Wi-Fi, actually. You don't really notice that it's there until it's gone. So, I don't know, guys. Keep it strong. Keep it secure. And everything really honestly does work better. The trust is a huge foundation to have. Okay, moving on to the 8th foundation, energy. I love this. Energy is everything. We're all energy. I believe that. Are you bringing positive energy into your relationship, or are you drained before you even get home? Like, what are you bringing to the table? What's the tone that you're setting in your home when you come in that door? The energy that you bring into your marriage affects everything, from communication to intimacy. Take care of your own energy first and watch your relationship transform. You always got to take care of you first. If you're feeling low, maybe try a quick reset. Deep breathing, go for a quick walk, maybe go have a bath. I like to have a transitional bath between when I come home from work. I've been gone for 2 days. I need that time for me. Or just taking a moment for yourself before engaging with your partner. Just take some deep breaths. This could be related to health as well. So, if you are having a lack of energy through health, I'm working on that right now with myself. Maybe it's through health habits, maybe it's through your eating, maybe it's a different type of energy, but typically what I'm speaking of is your vibe. So again, here's a little task you can do, like set aside 10 minutes a day just to consciously exchange positive energy with your spouse. A smile, a really long hug, those are my favorite, a compliment, a laugh, or just a little hand holding, really does go a long way. Positive energy is contagious. Unfortunately, it's kind of like a yawn, but just way more fun. Try to have a plan to uplift each other every day in what you do. When we're feeling down, we love to play karaoke because it brings our energy and our vibe up, and we feel better than just sitting there and watching TV. Okay, the 9th foundation is perspective. Now, perspective is everything. I really, truly believe that. One small disagreement can look like a mountain or a molehill, depending on how you see it. Changing your perspective can change the entire dynamic of a relationship. Ask yourself, Is this really worth stressing about, or can I see it differently? What is the lesson here? Don't stay in the hurt. Try to look at the big picture. When stuff happens, we don't want to just stay in that conflict. We don't want to stay there. Why is this happening? Try to just kind of flip it and look from a different lens. Next time a conflict arises, pause and ask yourself, what might my partner be feeling right now? Use your empathy. This shift alone can transform a heated argument into a thoughtful discussion. Really try practicing things from your partner's perspective at least once a day. Even if you are in agreement, just listen to them and like, oh, okay, I understand. That's really, get curious. Ask them why they feel that way. Ask them why they think that way. A shift in perspective is like putting on glasses when everything has been blurry. You'll wonder how you didn't see it before or couldn't. Why couldn't you see that way before? Because you just haven't been aware of it. Now you are aware of it. Open your eyes and your mind, and just having the awareness of it is the start of it. Maybe your partner's silence isn't about ignoring you. We go to our ego right away. We think it's about us. Maybe they just need a snack. Hunger is a real mood shifter. So don't just assume, just kind of look at it from a different perspective. Okay, that takes us to the 10th foundation, which is intimacy. Now, let's talk about intimacy. Let's talk about sex, baby. ADHD moment here. Like I said, I'm not just talking about sex, okay? Intimacy is more than that. Good adult play sessions are very important too, and often. But intimacy is about deep connection, vulnerability, and showing up for each other in a way that feels safe. True intimacy comes from being emotionally open and vulnerable with your partner. It's not just about grand gestures. It's about the little everyday moments of connection. And as I said earlier, I'm still really curious about my husband. I love asking him questions. I love getting deeper into his brain. Emotional intelligence is very sexy to me. And I make a point to ask him deeper questions. And then we get into the intimate talk. Just to start off, like you can ask your partner, what's one thing that's been on your mind lately that you haven't shared with me? What do you want to accomplish in your life? Where do you see yourself in 2 years? Where do you see us in 2 years? And then you talk about some of the things that maybe you enjoy. What brings you pleasure? How can you make your partner feel safe or feel good this week? Maybe spend 10 minutes each day just having your sharing time, connecting. And all of these 12 foundations all come together. Just share. Maybe it's about your day. Maybe it's pillow talk and more intimate. Put your phone away. Turn the TV off. Just have it, the two of you. Maybe have some nice music, some lighting, light some candles. Have a nice ambiance. Romanticize the situation. Hold hands, snuggle. Physical touch can rekindle emotional intimacy in powerful, powerful ways. Now, intimacy is crucial for a deep, soulful connection with your partner. So yes, a little Netflix and chill is totally encouraged. And in my opinion, often. Whew, is it getting hot in here? Is it just me? All right, I'll keep it clean. Foundation 11. So the 11th foundation, intuition. Woo! This is my personal favorite. So intuition, your gut feeling, it's your inner, to me, it's like your inner marriage GPS. It guides you when things can get murky. Learning to trust your intuition can make all the difference in your relationship. Intuition in marriage is about tuning into those subtle signals. When something feels off, or when you just know you need to show a little bit of extra love, your intuition is a powerful guide. If you learn to listen to it, you will pick up on things. Talk about the intuition with your husband. What does it look like to each of you? What does intuition even look like for you? Start each day by checking in with yourself. There again, I'm big into journaling. What's my gut feeling telling me today about my marriage? Often our intuition speaks in whispers, and it's very, very quiet. So you need to tune in and sometimes block out some of the other noises. Quiet that noise and just listen. Now this week, before making any major decisions, take a pause and ask yourself, is this my intuition talking or is it my ego? And reflect on the difference. Trust in your gut can be like ordering food without a menu. Is that even possible? You're taking a risk, but when you nail it and you order that right dish, it's so damn worth it. So just listen to your inner compass, listen to your inner gut, and start reflecting on that and build that trust with your own intuition. The last but not least, the 12th foundation is empathy. And it's certainly not the least. Empathy is the glue that holds all these pillars together. All of these 12 foundations, pillars, modules, I'm not even sure, but to me, they're foundations. And without it, you're just two people talking at each other instead of truly connecting. Empathy is about understanding your partner's feelings without making it about you. It's stepping into their shoes, even when it's uncomfortable, and offering love and understanding. So the next time your partner shares something, instead of responding with advice or solutions, just say, babe, that sounds really tough, and I'm here for you. And sometimes that's all we need, is just someone to get it, and just someone to listen. We don't need to fix it. Practice offering empathy every day this week. If your partner had a rough day at work, acknowledge their feelings instead of jumping in with solutions. Trust me, it goes a long way. Just listen, be there for them. And remember, empathy is not about fixing the problem. It's about being on the same boat while you try to figure out how to row it together. Once you figure that out, there's way less rowing. You're just kind of floating and you're just in sync and things are going right. And I truly believe that put yourself in your partner's shoes, understand them more. I give a really great story, an example of this and misunderstandings and how we deal with it and using our empathy when I ended up going to Australia alone. And it just didn't work out with my husband coming. And please go listen to that episode. It was really profound. We are constantly growing. We are always on this journey, my husband and I. I just truly believe that if you incorporate all of these 12 foundations into your life and into your marriage, it just makes so much sense. It's what's worked for myself and is still continue to working for it. Still continues to work for myself and my husband. So there we have it. Those are the 12 foundations of Worthy of Love. I'm figuring it out how to deliver that to you. All I know is to have a chat with you if you're interested in working with me. As I keep saying, I am setting stuff up in the background. I've got things. I'm working with my business coach. Life is busy, and I have ADHD. I'm 53, and I get distracted easily, and I have a passion for this, and I'm hoping to get something out in the world very soon. But right now, this is how it is. I love talking about it. And if you are interested in learning more, email me at theintuitivemarriagepodcast at gmail.com, or send me a DM on Instagram at the Intuitive Marriage Podcast. I hang out on Facebook, and also amandajane.pod on Instagram. So that was absolutely the sneak peek into my program, Worthy of Love, 12 Foundations to an Intuitive Marriage mentorship program. I hope today's episode resonates with you, and I hope that it brings you a deeper sense of clarity and connection, not only with your partner, but yourself. And remember, a thriving marriage begins with self-awareness and self-love. When we take care of ourselves, nurture our intuition, and stay committed to growing alongside our partner, that's where the magic happens. Today, we just scratched the surface. But as I said, if you would like to dive deeper and have a personal intuitive insight session with myself, please do email me. I have my contacts in the show notes, and I would love to hear from you. And also, please, guys, if you're enjoying this podcast, screenshot me, share me in your stories. I'd love for you to share it with one person. That's all I'm going to ask this time. And until next time, keep trusting your intuition, keep nurturing your love, and remember, you are always worthy of the deepest, most soulful connection. So I hope to see you in the next episode of the Intuitive Marriage Podcast. And again, thanks for listening. Bye for now.